This is the poser. I showed up at boot camp, I think about 8 years ago. The hat, the glasses, long hair. Well, not really long hair because it only grew to my shoulders, but a lot remembers. The guy I prayed with asked me straight out, is this you? And it's not. And I can tell you that I struggle with anxiety, and fear, and holding back. So I'll give you a little bit of the backstory to kind of give you an idea. Grew up in Chatham, Ontario. Christian Dutch community. So Christian grade school, Christian high school, Christian church. The people I went to church with were the people I went to school with. I grew up surrounded by Christians pretty much my whole life. Finished high school, went on to Christian college, did Redeemer for a year, and went to Calvin for 4 years. It sounds like a pretty easy ride, and I was surrounded by good people. My dad worked in the garage behind the house. My issue was compounded by the fact that my mom, right after I was born, went into depression and ended up in a psych ward, and probably 3 or 4 times after that, by the end of high school, had been into the hospital at least 3 different times, typically in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And so I ended up staying with cousins, uncles, here and there, for a month at a time or 2 months at a time, occasionally throughout that time. My dad's the youngest of his family. I'm the youngest of my family. Got 2 older brothers. Makes me the youngest of the youngest. I learned pretty quick. My next oldest brother is 3 years up. So by the time I hit grade 9, he was in grade 12 and booting out. And I was pretty much on my own. So that kind of was my mantra, was I'm kind of on my own. I learned that pretty quick. Kids in grade school aren't nice to anybody, I think. I found my way, and I definitely got better, but I definitely played the role of being the good guy, playing it safe. And I look good on the outside. But I was not engaged. I was in the youth group and active in the youth group, but took a couple swings at it, moved to Toronto. I think the anxiety definitely showed up when my kids showed up, and for the first 10 years I was an angry dad, short-tempered. If something went wrong at work, it showed up at home. Kind of interesting. I went through my basement. I'm cleaning out my basement. It's got 10 years of junk in it, literally. And I was shredding the garbage and throwing out pieces of paper, and I came across my performance reviews from a job I had 20 years ago. And one of the performance reviews says, when John's irritable, he doesn't have, and not doing well today, he does not do well with his coworkers. And I'm the support guy for the IT at that time, at that job. And that was eye-opening for me to read that like 15 years later. I basically lost my job due to some issues at work. I was looking at a woman the wrong way, and that came to the forefront, and it just compounded the anxiety that was already there. Said things I wasn't supposed to. The interesting thing was God held me through that. Gave me literally my next job. They didn't give it to me until 2 weeks before my last job ended, so I went through 6 months of extreme stress. And it's taken me probably 15 years to work through most of that anxiety and fear. Not been an easy road. So I basically went to church, but withdrew. I dropped out of the activities I was in. I looked good on the outside. My family had to put up with my stress and my other stuff on the inside. So I'm going to fast forward to today. I mean, there's a lot of ground to cover. Been in boot camps for 7 years now. And my last boot camp, I did the warrior for. I was a wreck going into it. And I got angry at God and yelled and shouted and walked out of the last presentation. And so what it looks like now is I can go to my Friday Band of Brothers meeting, meet with the guys, and I sound good. And I look good because I've been listening to Eldredge for 7 years now, and I know the stuff, I know the material. And then I go home and I sit down and I play my video games and I read my books, and I go to distraction over and over and over again, rather than pushing into where my brokenness is and where my pain is. And I need to be more honest with my kids. I avoid the challenge of going face to face with my kids when I should. It's easier to back off. And sometimes with your kids it is better to back off. But, yeah, I look out at the front. And I guess that's the point, is I need to be more honest and more open about who I am. Thanks.
Thanks, John.